Hello friends, welcome back and welcome if you're new here. My name is Tina Golick. I'm going to be sharing a garden tour with you today. I like to do these at least once a year. So many people have questions about my garden. I have been gardening since I was around 20 years old. I've worked in many floral shops and greenhouses. I did have my own landscaping business for a brief period of time. I was a personal landscaper and florist for someone who is fairly well known here in our state. But yeah, I really enjoy plants. I love sharing my ideas with you. I love hearing ideas from you as well. So if you do have any ideas or garden stories or anything, share them in the comments. I love to hear from you. Let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how the garden's doing this year and all the changes that we've made. So as you come down the driveway, you can see to the right here is a chive patch. Everybody comments on my chive patch. It's completely self-seeded. I love it. I absolutely love it. I have roses in here. I have peonies. I have some Dusty Miller. There's some blueberries. I have 4 blueberry bushes here. And if you look in the back right here, that is an artichoke. And I also have strawberries growing in here, some random flowers, and yarrow. You can see some yarrow here. So I actually use a lot of my chives, but mostly they're just for looks. They're absolutely beautiful when they're blooming. And the yarrow, like I said, I do use the white flowers in arrangements, in floral arrangements. They kind of look like Queen Anne's lace, but it's the greenery. It's the greenery that I use for medicinal reasons. So if you had a cut, you could chew up the yarrow or crush it and put it on the cut, and it will help the blood to coagulate and to stop bleeding or slow down the bleeding greatly. So yarrow is actually a good thing to have in your yard. So you'll see on the outside of the garden it's completely enclosed. This is Lady Eubank roses, and they bloom once a year. They're tiny little white flowers. They're really not very noticeable. Actually, you can see a couple of them blooming here on the edges. And we do have to hedge it 3 or so times every summer because they are profuse growers, but they only bloom once a year in the spring. And like I said, they're tiny roses. Usually it's covered, but we keep it hedged. So as we move down, like I said, I have some roses out here in pots, and we have raspberries. So on this side we have 1 set, and on this side we have 2. So we're gonna walk past the garden gate here, and we're gonna go in here. So like I said, these are raspberries. They've just been moved. These right here in these pots, these are salmon berries. And all of this is daylilies. And I have wisteria growing on both sides of this walkway. This is some PVC piping that we had used to create a cover for the raspberries. It created a frame that we put netting over, and we're gonna use this to create a cover for the raspberries out here and the blueberries. So the wisteria right now just smells amazing. In here I have some sugar pie pumpkins. You can see they're coming up. We've got Cherokee basket gourd. We have butternut squash and acorn squash and zucchini and yellow crookneck squash. And we have delicate squash. And along here we have Jerusalem artichoke. And then I do have some pumpkins planted in here as well. So this is a plum tree. And my chicken's yard is on the other side there. That's double fenced, so they can't reach through and steal my plants, because they do that. We have a couple more raspberry starts over here. So that's really all that's back here, is just that. We used to plant everything in the ground, pumpkins and squash, and the pumpkins go crazy back here. But I really haven't been growing any for the last couple of years, but I do have one pot with some sugar pie pumpkins, and I love those because they're perfect for baking. Although the best pumpkin pie is made with butternut squash. So to come back out here, over here we have, gosh, you know, I can't even remember what this is. My husband has been buying unique berry plants. So this, I'm not exactly sure what this is. This is some more Jerusalem artichoke, and it gets really tall. Got some flowers planted over here, some more roses. These two pots are actually empty. I need to figure out something to plant in there. And let's go ahead and go in the garden. So the first thing that you'll notice, something new, is the fountain. I love this fountain so much. And then also this arbor that Mike built me. And he had ordered, we have a hardware store, we have a True Value hardware store, and these were on closeout. So he ordered them for me, and there were 4 of them, so we got all 4. And I didn't know what I was gonna do with them, but I wanted them. And then these were, I think I got those at a garage sale. So originally, I wanted to try some of the PVC pipe on top of this, and I went from corner to corner to create kind of an arch at the top. And it really just didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. It was okay, but it just wasn't what I had envisioned. So Mike ended up building me a wooden frame at the top, and I love it. I have all kinds of things planted on each corner, and it's perfect. So if you remember, all of this was grass last year. And I have 2 new planters on both sides, and then the arbor. And I thought that I was gonna miss the grass, but I don't miss it. So like I said, I have a pink lemonade blueberry here and some raspberries. That is a marshmallow tree. It's just a small one. I have 2 more variety of blueberries here, and these are all of my tomatoes. I think I just got 1 Roma. I love Roma tomatoes. I got, let's see, 2 Early Girl and 2 beefsteak. So on the ends I have nasturtium, and I have beans that are gonna climb up this arbor. Over here I have peas planted along here. And to be honest, they're not coming up yet, and they should be, so I'm gonna have to replant. I have amaranth planted all back in here, and that grows up to 8 feet tall, so it's gonna hide my potting area over here. I have this fencing up to kind of hold it in case it's, you know, tries to fall over at all. but it's gonna be 8 feet high. So my potting area, I love. Mike built this for me, and it's perfect for, you know, obviously potting. I've got a garbage can here with a lid for compost tea or ash tea for my garden. And then also I can clear this off, and it's perfect for drying onions or potatoes. And I've got all of my bark mulch and my potting mix. It's perfect. And then there's another garbage can over here for compost. I just throw it in there, and then when that gets full, I take it over to the compost pile. So I also have some onions, and you can see some little nasturtium coming up. I have nasturtium coming up all over my yard, and it seeds itself. So I have celery, and I have some black-eyed Susans and some cosmos. So the amaranth that I have growing, I have, I think, 5 rows, and they're different colors. I think I have yellow, red, green, and orange. Over here I have some cosmos in the center, but around on each of a post is cucumbers. And I do like to have flowers mixed in with my garden. Here I have currant. So on the opposite side, I have a currant here, and then this is a jostaberry. And then I do have some small winterberry plants at the base. So in this planter, I have flowers, some more raspberries. Actually, this is all raspberries back here. And then in the front, I have some Walla Walla onions. And here I have some dill and lettuce. I have some Walla Walla onions and some bunching onions and some basil. And then I have some beans that are gonna grow up. I'm pretty sure that those were scarlet runner beans that I have planted on this trellis here. So I've got random things planted at the base of these trellises. And to be honest, I can't remember what I planted. But I mean, as far as seed. So I have scarlet runner beans. I have the purple ones. I can't remember what those are called. It's not something that I would normally grow. So, and then regular green beans, and then nasturtium, of course. Like I said, I've got my fountain. I've had this fountain for years, and it was over by my hot tub. I had Mike move it up here. We did have a screen over the top of it, and we had a gentle fountain in it and fish. But somehow the raccoons could still get in there and get the fish, even with the screen over it. So I've given up on that. And here I have peas growing and some climbing black-eyed Susan. I love black-eyed Susans. They're just so beautiful. Of course, I have alyssum growing amongst everything. This is a bush cherry, and this is a mulberry. Over here I have 2 pots of dahlias, and then this is baby cakes blackberry. In here I have spinach and black-eyed Susans. In this planter I have yellow squash and zucchini. And then I have beans, and I believe these are the red scarlet runner on both sides of this arbor. I love how the arbors look when they're nice and full. Over here I've got Swiss chard and carrots coming up. Back here, well, you'll notice that I have hanging baskets. And these are geraniums. I have them all in the garden. I love to have flowers in the garden, like I said. And I have some huckleberry plants. And this is another blueberry here. And this is one of my towers. I got these at the Dollar Tree. and I am so pleased with them. I have 3 of them in the garden. 2 have strawberries and 1 has herbs. So over here I've got some peonies coming up. Next to the peonies here, I have an espalier, and this is a pear, and the top row is one type of pear, and then the second row is another type, and the third is a different. In its pot is a alyssum, and it had reseeded itself. And then I have some rosemary and some flowers, and this right here is a cornelian cherry. So on the other side over here, I have another strawberry tower, and this is a white strawberry, and this is an apple espalier. So you can see that I have wisteria growing, and the wisteria is just getting to the side of the garden fence, but it's not really filled out yet. So the espalier trees, when they fill out and they're nice and green, it does create a green wall on this side. So like I said, I've got scarlet runner beans on the base of this arbor and on the other side, and this is the strawberry patch. The first, I think it's 3 or 4 rows are white strawberries, and then the rest are red. And I believe that they're all everbearing. These wood things you see on the side here, this is going to sit on the side of this base, and then we'll be able to cover the strawberries and protect them from the birds. So in here I have asparagus and then flowers. I like to have the flowers mixed in. I don't really have enough asparagus to pick and eat, so I just go ahead and let it flower, and I love how it looks. It's just so pretty, and it looks beautiful in arrangements. So right next to it, I've got my 2 herb bookcases on either side of the back door to the garden, and Mike built me those. I absolutely love them. They're perfect for my herbs. So I have a matching planter here with asparagus in it, and some flowers. And this is a peach tree. I have another herb tower here. It does have a couple of strawberries in it, but it's mostly herbs. At the base of this arbor is Blue Lake green beans. Normally I plant Kentucky Wonder, but I did go with the Blue Lake. And you can see that I've got chicken wire that's formed into a tunnel. I like to put it over my green beans as they're coming up, because the birds will actually pull them out of the ground. So that just gives them a start. Once they get up big enough, the birds won't touch them. So in here I've got some peppers. Those are just green peppers, and a couple of marigolds. It's always good to have marigolds in your garden. So I've got them covered over here because the slugs like them. In here I have some Siberian kale and some more Walla Walla onions. And I have on this side broccoli coming up. And then you'll see some green. Those are flowers that have reseeded themselves, and I just let them come up wherever they want in the garden. On the end here, I have some more cucumbers. And then, to be honest, I can't remember what type of bean I planted on this arbor. Some on that side and some on this side. So I've got some more dahlias coming up here. On the end here, I do have a grape. And we do have another grape, and I believe it's out on in the front of the garden. So this is a dwarf Rainier cherry, And we have some elderberry. This is actually a new elderberry plant. It's a different color. I have 2 of this type, and they're the black elderberry. And I like to make my own elderberry syrup, and that's why I have that. This one I believe is white. And this is another cherry. And then that is a Mount Ash. And then I can't remember what this is. I think this is another type of blueberry. And then I have apple mint. This is a cherry tomato, some flowers, and I have 2 pots of lilies and then some more mint. And here is my potatoes. I have Purple Viking and Yukon Gold, russet, and a red potato. In here I have my cabbages. And I do have alyssum coming up, mixed amongst everything. So in here, I have these arbors we just put up last year. There's one on this side, and then there's one on the other opening to this circular area, and they're covered in boysenberry bushes. So all around the garden is daylilies. We've got red hot pokers, we have roses, we have hydrangeas, and lots of fruit trees. So I've got a nice little seating area here. So this is a pear tree. This is an espalier pear. And this is a plum tree. Here's my butterfly bush that's just starting to bloom. Like I said, this is boysenberries. We've got hydrangeas that will be blooming soon. I have a mock orange, which smells amazing in the summer. We have a Fuji apple, some roses. This is my goldenrod. It's coming up all over the garden. And we have a mulberry. This is a cosmic crisp apple. Some figs. And more roses, some lavender. This is another pear. We have some artichokes coming up, and they're also growing randomly around this area. This is a fruit cocktail tree, which produces peaches, plums, nectarines, just a variety of different fruits. Have rhubarb, and this is another plum. This is one of my favorite relaxing places to sit and enjoy lemonade or sweet tea. So I hope you enjoyed that tour of the garden. I love taking people on tours in my garden, whether that be here on YouTube or in person. Every year when I have my 4th of July party, people say, can we go see your garden? So I love it. I love spending time in my garden. My husband wanted to put it on a watering system, and I have all of my plants on my deck are on a watering system, so I don't have to water those. But I told him, you know, I really enjoy spending time in the garden and watering it by hand and just taking the time. I've noticed so far this year that just the little bit more that we've added to the garden takes about another hour of time to water. So it's about 2.5 hours altogether to water the garden. And that includes the circular. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tour. I hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.